Have you guys ever heard of KCALS, the infamous Bed Wars sniping group filled with toxic fly hackers? Well, I'm here to tell you a story about my time as one of those toxic snipers. It all started when I got b-hopped on one too many times in Skywars. I was actually in call with a friend of mine and was recently starting to get pissed off on how terrible the anti-cheat was. She explained to me how hacked clients worked and showed me a video showcasing one called Sigma. This was beyond hilarious for me, and since it was free at the time, I decided to download it and go ahead and buy some alts along with a VPN to hide my IP address. I had so much fun flying around and wiping everybody in my path, but after a while, it got really boring being literally invincible, so I ended up going back to playing legit bridge on my main. That wasn't until my friend who introduced me to this stuff got accepted into KCALS. She explained to me how the group supplies you with accounts so that you could snipe people's Bed Wars win streak. If people were scared enough of our group, they could purchase something called a safe list to avoid getting sniped. They also had something called a blacklist. People who the owners didn't like would end up getting on this blacklist and would have to nick just to play games because of the amount of snipers trying to snipe them. But this group was still pretty new and very unorganized. We relied on a list of people which we had to manually read through every game just to make sure the person we were about to snipe wasn't safe listed. It didn't always work though, and we did snipe people who literally paid us not to snipe them. But the owners didn't really give a shit anyways, so you could tell how pissed off some people got. I sniped a shitload of people. Why? I have no idea. And I got pretty well known in the Bed Wars community as one of the most active snipers. My problem was, Sigma was such a terrible client because of the lack of updates, and I learned about a much more configurable client with a very active staff team. This one was called a stalfo. A few of my fellow snipers had it, so I already knew the kind of shit that it could do, and it was crazy. Come to think of it, before I got Astolfo, I actually used Remix and a private KCALS client, which I'm technically not allowed to talk about. Oops. But as my luck would have it, the developer of the KCALS client decided to not only stop updating it, but also locked everyone who purchased it out. So to Astolfo I went. Sadly, this was an invite-only client, but since I was part of KCALS, it wasn't too difficult for me to get accepted. Once I was accepted, though, I had to purchase the client, and the staff only officially accepted bitcoins, which I didn't really have at the time. But there was an alternative. See, the staff knew that the majority of players couldn't get access to cryptocurrency, seeing as how the majority of everybody was underage. So instead, they had official resellers that were vouched for by the admins. How this worked was you paid the reseller a little bit extra through PayPal, and they would give you access to the client on your account. I had it for about a month, made some pretty cool showcase videos which I uploaded on my personal KCALS channel, and even sniped moderators for shits and giggles. This client was insane, but that didn't really last for long. One day, I tried to log back into my client with my username and password, and it says that I'd been banned from Astolfo. Like, what? I went onto the forums and I messaged the reseller, but of course he didn't really answer me. And somebody else that I knew from KCALS who had Astolfo got banned, and when he contacted the owner, whose name is Zarzal, all he was told was to charge back the purchase, which he couldn't do because of how much time had passed since he bought it. I contacted the owner and asked what to do. I didn't really know somebody who runs this big of a server could have this huge of an ego and be this retarded. I feel like the majority of the organization of Astolfo came from the owner relying on the staff team that he hired. After I realized how big of an asshole this guy was, I got really frustrated trying to have a conversation with what seemed like a 4-year-old, so instead, I contacted one of the more well-known admins named Spez. He was super nice and helpful, unlike some people, but sadly, because of Zarzal's seniority in Astolfo, I was told that there was nothing that Spez could do because I pissed Zarzal off. I've stopped at least 25 people from purchasing the client since then, so yeah, fuck you, Zarzal. I ended up getting bored of sniping and decided to stop for a while. I still talked in the Discord, but I ended up catching a sniper who was very active in the bridge community and tried to get bridgers blacklisted while still pretending to be friends with all of them. I brought this to somebody's attention who I won't name and got him banned from bridgers. After that, I got banned from KCALS for leaking shit and continued to mindlessly grind bridge until I hit lifetime wins. That was until my main got banned for the Skyblock stuff that I talked about in my video titled Who's Zerky, which should be in the top right of the screen if I didn't end up fucking anything up. But long enough has gone by for KCALS to forget who I was, since I changed my name from Barrett 50 Cal to Zerk, and since most of the original staff team was gone, I guess they didn't remember who I was and allowed me to come back. So, since I was banned, I decided to rejoin with a new, better, and cheaper client called novolion. It had a much more respectable and active staff team with constant updates, letting the client bypass things that should instantly ban you on other clients. The only reason Astolfo could maybe be considered better by any unknowing player could be because of its customizability at the cost of a user-friendly interface. KCALS was so much more organized. They had special overlays that would draw over our clients to indicate who was safe listed and blacklisted, as well as show us their current statistics like their win-loss, win streaks, and a lot more. They had Discord bots that would alert us whenever someone with a high win streak was sniping, which allowed me to snipe some very, very important win streaks, which I won't say here to avoid getting shot on by them. But since one of them was a very important win streak, I will say that the person dodged anybody with a low star, and we ended up having to get into a party of 3 MVP++ accounts just to fly on them and break their streak. I didn't continue for too long until I got bored and decided to leave for a new main account and continued to grind bridge. KCALS became a cesspool of toxic eat-aters, and I didn't even know anyone from my old days as a sniper. It also got really difficult to be a legit player while also being a sniper because everybody assumed that just because I had a stalfo or novoline that I was obviously also a closet cheater, which really started to piss me off since they brushed me off as some shit player. I really hate the idea of sniping now, but I did have quite a bit of fun while it lasted. I would like to personally apologize to all of these nons who I just sniped because I kind of felt bored, to be honest. They didn't really deserve it. If you are on here, please DM me on Discord for a personal apology. My Discord's in the description because I do feel pretty bad for it. Please do not ever get into sniping unless you want to be hated by a shitload of people while also being labeled as a closet cheater. Thanks for listening. If you guys want to hear more stories like this, I stream on Twitch daily, so come stop by and say hi and I can answer some questions if you have. I also really need to thank you guys since I just got Twitch affiliate and hit 500 subscribers in a matter of like 2 days, so this means the world to me how much support I'm getting. I hope you learned a thing or two about this story, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.